So, welcome to Sculpt Quest. With you seated is your own favorite host, Marvin Tabi Ashu. It's a Sunday, and I have with me a brother who goes by the name Gerhard Lutherus. So, I would like for you to introduce yourself again, if you really want to tell us about what you do in Germany and all whatnot.
All right. So thank you so much, brother, and thanks for hosting me. And I'd like to also say thank you to the viewers and those supporting your program. That is Sculpt Quest. My name is Gerhard Lutherus, as he said. I came to Europe about VI years ago, and I came purposely for education. But as I've realized, it's been more than education.
Right.
Yeah, it's been more than education. I've actually gotten to evolve as a person and build up my character.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's nice to hear.
Thank you.
Really perplexed as to what we are really going to be discussing today, because I see that you have that energy. You really want to tell us something that we really need to know as Africans.
Yeah.
And I'm as well thankful that you came and to, take part of this project. And I think the basis of this project is just centered on educating ourselves and empowering us as Africans. And today I think it's going to be centered on social issues that immigrants, youths from Africa are going through in Europe.
At least
So, yeah, there are so many issues to begin with. If we want to talk about some of these things, it can last like for a year.
Exactly.
But really, family issue is one of those things that we all do face.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, you actually brought up a very interesting point.
Yeah.
Family issues. I mean, we all come from a family, and we can't say that we're going to neglect our families. Yeah.
Right.
So the issue is very dicey and very sensitive. And
Right.
so I would like to talk a little bit about family issues. Yeah.
Right.
Personally, I've had some ups and downs with this point.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can say many people are also going through it.
That's for sure.
But they've not had the confidence and the boldness to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this gives them the opportunity to also feel heard and add something to it in the comment section.
Right.
Yes. So, family issues. I mean, people in the diaspora. Yeah. We in the diaspora, as young people, most of us came to study, not necessarily to work. I mean, those who came to work eventually got to work after education.
Right.
Exactly. But our families back home have this notion that once you leave Africa, yeah, you are automatically well-to-do, which I believe can be a thorn in the flesh, actually, because there's a bit of misconception, right, around this issue. I believe we have to really communicate with them well.
Yeah.
We have to really communicate with them well and let them know the issue on ground.
Yeah, but again, from my end, I think a lot of people actually are the reason as to which people keep bugging them for support. Because what we rarely do, or how we get trapped into this web, is because when we come, we want to make people feel like we can provide.
True.
Even when we have not.
True.
When you come abroad, you have like 100 euros, convert that to your local currency. That's a lot. So you feel like you can feed mouths more than you earn. Not knowing that you're sacrificing this 100 euro to support them, you attract more mouth to come your way. That will mean not putting yourself first.
True.
And that will mean you working extra hard to catch up with the demands that you have here. Remember, you have to pay your rent, you have to eat, you have to pay your bills, you have to take care of yourself.
Yes, that's true.
So if you cannot draw a fine line between positioning yourself first, then you can stretch your hands to give something to these people. Then you easily fall into that trap, which a lot of people do in anyway.
That's true, because what you said actually summarizes the phrase that just popped into my mind right now. It's like you being in an aircraft and there's a turbulence, right? You need to put on your oxygen mask. You have to first of all put yours first before you help your brother.
That is it.
But here is a case where we feel a sense of guilt.
A sense of guilt, yeah. Why would you be guilty if you cannot do it?
It's not about you trying to help, right? It's about you making them aware that you think about them. But here is a case where you trying to make them think you care about them traps you.
That is it. So the interpretation that they end up having is, if he can do it, it means he has more.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, on our path abroad, we are actually trying to make sure that the little that we have, we can share with those people. We can go miles to make it's all about sacrifices.
Exactly. That is why I made mention of communication.
Okay.
I believe we should communicate with them well. We should be honest and truthful. When dealing with families back home.
Bro, but the impression that people already have back home, those that came before us, right? Let me tell you, see how we end up getting into this mess.
Okay.
Myself, trust me, I used to think Europe is that easy, unless I found myself here. So when I was back home, we saw our elders, some big friends of friends, came back home looking nice, big cars and all those things. So they painted a picture that forced us into thinking that Europe is actually a bed of roses.
Exactly.
So people still have that misconception about Europe, that everybody that gets there, like you said, it is already successful, is well-to-do.
That is
Meanwhile,
true.
it's not true. So there is a problem of communication, but how do we decode this to make the people around us understand that it is not easy? Because sometimes even when we tell them it is not easy,
they don't believe it.
That is where the problem is.
Because they have this mindset that, okay, you've gone to discover gold and you are preventing
and you're sitting on it.
You are sitting on it and you're preventing you from accessing it. This is a real issue, bro.
It is an issue. I mean,
a real issue.
It's not a laughing matter, but it's funny because what people do to come abroad, unfortunately, not everybody came as a student.
Exactly.
Not everybody could afford it. People actually came maybe on a 3 months visa.
True.
And to acquire that visa, some family had to sit down to sacrifice the education of many to sponsor one person to come abroad.
That is true.
So if this person arrives abroad, what do you think become of that person? Because all those mouths, all those people that sacrifice something for him to come are looking up to him.
Looking up to you. And so that is where the sense of guilt comes in. Because you feel like you've deprived others to get to where you are. So how best can you prove to them that you think of them? By giving them something small. You see, as you mentioned 100 euros, right? It's not, for us here, it's not much, right? But to them back home, come on. That's a lot. So you feel like, okay, if you have your 100 euros, 200 euros, you can send it back to them just to, let them think well of you.
Yeah, but one thing that I want to add to this regarding the support that we give, like I used to tell my junior brother before he traveled out, I always say, look, I'm in a place where I can't give you money to eat anymore.
Okay.
Look for something resourceful that you want to do. Give me a plan. Tell me how this thing is going to help you find yourself. Then I'm going to give you the little that I have to support this dream. Because to me right now, it's all about dream. It's not about just giving people money to eat or paying their rent and stuff, because there become a time that you will get exhausted. We are now young. We have the energy to work, to do what we have to do, building up or feeding others, but not building them up.
That's true.
So if care is not taken, you would work to feed mouths and then putting yourself at risk. Because remember, there are some families where you actually have to. Bro, it is difficult for us, your mom, parents back home. Seriously, this is very, very difficult. I'm saying it now from a man's perspective.
Okay.
As a man, I know that there are brothers who have to establish their families.
True.
Probably build a shelter for their parents, sponsor their junior ones.
True.
And that takes years of hard work.
Yes.
If care is not taken, you keep on doing that, forgetting to build up your own self. The question is, as a man, when do you turn to build up your own self to start making up your own family?
That is true. That is why, I mean, this issue actually affects people here in abroad, because they want to settle down, but they don't have the means, because they have, I wouldn't say waste, but then they have sent you all their resources, right? They have given you all their resources, and there's nothing of them. You understand? And I like the fact that you communicated very well with your brother back home. You made it very clear to him that give me a plan so that I sponsor the plan. Not that I'm sponsoring a liability.
That is it. You know, it is bad how we communicate. We have to be hard sometimes, as much as we love our family members, as much as we want the best for them. If I really want the best for you, I really have to stop feeding you.
That's true.
And show you how to feed yourself.
That's true. I would refer you to God. You know, God built, or he created the world, right? And in every of his creature, right, he created the law of reciprocity or multiplication.
Right.
So he wouldn't have to come back again
and do those
same things again. And so people back home should actually find something to do, build on themselves, right? Educate themselves, have skills that they can exchange, right? For what? Money.
Right.
And that is value.
That is value. Bro, a lot of people have even managed, that I can attest, they have managed to establish, they had or they still have the intention to establish one or two family members to take the burdens off their shoulders. But those guys back home messed it up. I mean, they messed it up big time.
Can you give an example to elaborate?
For example, a brother is out here hustling.
Yeah.
And he sees the need to establish one of his own back home.
Okay.
Business-wise or education-wise, so that they can be able to get off school and then get something doing for themselves.
Yeah.
You know how difficult it is back home. The system doesn't work. So going to school back home, first of all, is not even a guarantee to secure something, your livelihood.
That's true.
You know, so a lot of people that I have come across have even managed to establish businesses back home that can be run or managed by their own junior ones, mothers, parents inclusive, but they squander everything.
I mean, that is also another issue. that is also another issue. You know, we have to build trust in relationships, because you claim that you are my family, right? And I'm supposed to do my best to take care of you. But here's a case where I'm trying to establish something for you back home so that it fits everyone. But greed and selfishness. You see
That is
that?
it.
So they are not helping us here. Honestly, to be very honest, they are not helping us here.
The very ones that are actually even going to hurt us more are family members. Because with that, we have this emotional attachment. We become so weak, so soft in taking some kind of decision. Oh, this one is my blood, this one is my brother, it's my sister, it's my mom. Just let it go.
It's like you have this soft spots for them.
Family, blood. But that's, to me, is another form of weakness. Yeah, it's good to take a deep breath, because seriously, sometimes when I talk to people, they say, "Oh man, you are just so difficult. You are just so strict." I'm not a strict person, but I have principles that, look, if things are not in line, I can't just let them go by like that. I have to point that out, and that is saving me a lot, because I will not pamper you and then put myself in a mess. I have to talk about it. And if need be, I just even stop being a part of it, because in the end of the day, we all are going down. And I don't want to go down for something that I did not even cause it in the first place.
Exactly. You just hint on one of the ways to mitigate such issues. And that is self-awareness.
Yeah.
Many people are not aware of themselves. And so there's this issue of black tax, where they actually get stuck because they don't know who they are, they don't know what they are building, they don't know their purpose, so they don't know where their resources are supposed to be channeled to.
Yeah. I think with this in place, I see that we are roped, and as a matter of not being able to identify who we are actually and what we want. It's about knowing yourself and your vision, your goals, your purpose so far. Your purpose of coming abroad, what was it for?
Exactly.
You are abroad now. Are you actually executing exactly what brought you abroad?
Exactly. And I think many, not to cut you, but I think many people abroad don't have a plan or a vision.
Okay.
They're just going with the flow. Because with a vision, you have goals, achievable goals. And so you see many people in abroad, and they've spent lots of years here, but they've not been able to establish anything for themselves or achieve any milestone because there's no vision. So they keep going in circles.
I agree with you on one hand, but on other hand, imagine this situation. You came abroad to really look for a way to establish yourself as a man, but you came on borrow. They had to take loan to send you abroad. That's putting your family in debt for you to at least see the light, which coming to abroad is not a guarantee that you'll be able to see the light. And then you are trapped again in the web of trying to pay back the loan, trying to take family responsibilities. So all your dreams that you had coming abroad, you see it draining.
That's gone down the
Plus, being in Europe, the system, you have to fight with it. That is another pressure now.
That's true.
And then you being around a certain kind of people that do not have similar goals or dreams as you do is another mess that you find yourself in.
It holds you back.
That is it. So the pressure that we have from family, the system, our association and all whatnot actually puts us in a depressive
state. That is true.
And that's another sickness.
That is true. And I would like to even hint on another issue, because you actually gave me a cue, and that is the pressure, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to also hint on peer pressure.
Right.
As a social issue affecting immigrants here. Because, as I stated earlier on, vision.
Right.
And vision actually coordinates how you move. So if you have vision, right, you will look for like-minded people. to move with. And peer pressure is a cancer, bro.
It is. Have you seen us? Have you seen our junior one? Even those born over here? Have you seen their lifestyle?
So sad. No, so sad.
Actually, we don't want to water down on the image of our people. We don't want to sound like we are being, we are trying to ridicule people out here, but it's just a wake-up call for us. I mean, we are involved, we are inclusive, all of us. Some of us are not even stable here anymore.
Exactly.
So we are a part of this thing that we are talking about. So if we are citing this issue of peer pressure, looking at the way people do things out here, is just for us to sit down in our bedrooms and look at ourselves, or take a look at the mirror and, ask yourself if this is really who you are. This is really who you are, or what you want to be.
That's true. And is this the image you want to portray? Because, we people of color, we have been stereotyped.
For long.
We have been stereotyped. And it's not because of how we were brought up, I would say, but it's because of how we behave when we move into people. Because we are out of our country.
Right.
So what we say, where we go to, what we do, is like a representation of where you come from.
True. And we only help to give these people enough reason to keep on pushing the agenda. Because to me, it's an agenda.
That's true. It is.
So if the movies that we watch, they portray us to be gangsters, and then we get out the streets, actually dressed up like gangsters, behaving like gangsters, exhibiting violence, what becomes of that?
I mean, not to say that you can't be yourself. You can be yourself. You can dress the way you are, but be mindful that you are not home. Right? You're in another man's land, and so you are representing a group of people back home. So the way you dress, the way you talk, how you move, is giving another man a visual representation of who you are and who your people are.
This again will take us back to the peer pressure. If our children, our younger ones, even us, are always around a group of people who feel like they want to create territorial boundaries, like, hey, I'm in charge of this street, this is my block, that kind of a thing, you're acting gangsters, automatically you become one.
Exactly.
You start acting like them.
Exactly.
And in a school or in a class or in a club where you are not presenting yourself as such, hey, this is who I am. I'm going to, how do they say it? Fuck you, or I'm going to bust up your brain. You fight with your friend, use baseball bats on people, and just to show that you can at least, I don't know. That is not power.
Not at all.
That is not power. That is not you creating territories. Actually, you are actually walking as programmed.
And you're actually displaying signs of insecurity.
That is it. It's a psychological warfare going on.
Actually, that's true.
It's a psychological warfare going on, because if we go back to the days of colonialism, like one of my senior man always say, we are all sick. To be beaten, to be trapped, to be abused, to be raped, to be imprisoned, to be tortured, that thing still walks in our head. The stories that we see every day of a black man is not a good one. So that thing is in our head. And every day you get out, they're like, hey, I hope I come back, because I don't want some of these guys I don't want to get into problem. You already like put yourself in a box.
Because you have been programmed
to think as such. So that anger at some point is inside. So the least trigger can make you act in a certain kind of way.
That is true.
Retaliation, because, hey, this racism of a thing is real.
It is very real. It is very real. And not to deviate, but with this same peer pressure, the other time I was having a conversation with my friend, and then I just hinted that I want to start a business. His first reaction was mockery.
I can imagine that.
You know, and I didn't tell him, but in my mind, I was like, wait, so you actually think Black people can't start a business, or we can't start something for ourselves?
So who gave you the knowledge to be able to run a business? Where did you pick that from?
I had to consciously reprogram myself.
That is what somebody is asking you each time you have conversation with some people. What makes you think you are different?